It's an odd-looking contraption, but this custom-made rig is part of a life-saving training program. It's offered by the Kansas Fire and Rescue Institute at the University of Kansas in Lawrence.
It's the continuing training. It's making sure that people don't come complacent.
Mike Cook and his partner Ben Green use the truck to train firefighters, farmers, and grain workers around the state in a skill they hope no one ever has to use.
Once you take and put the human factor in there, then it can all go away and you end up with grain engulfments, grain entrapments, and in some cases, fatalities.
Grain entrapments or engulfments happen when a person is literally swallowed by grain and unable to get out on their own. In some cases, it can be deadly. Purdue University in Indiana publishes an annual report. Its most recent study shows in 2016 there were 29 grain engulfments. Only 18 of those workers survived. Conway Springs' Tommy Bernston is one of them.
Glad it ended the way I did, but that's why they have safety equipment.
It took crews nearly 7 hours to rescue Bernston, who was wearing his safety equipment.
Right back to cleaning bins and just be more careful next time.
Sadly, it was a different outcome for two men in Wichita earlier this year. Both Marcus Tice and Joshua Rasbold died working at the Gavilon grain elevator off South Hoover. OSHA has yet to make a ruling on the official cause.
Well, if you come on out and just hold on to these. Yep. All right.
Many of the firefighters who respond to these emergencies undergo this exact training. It's designed to simulate a grain entrapment.
You guys ready?
Keep in mind, it's the team rescuing me who are the ones who are really getting the lesson here. It takes a few minutes, but working 10 feet above the ground, tethered to a harness, crews will slowly lower me into this small opening.
Stand up.
Surprisingly, the soybeans are just firm enough to stand on.
It's not real stable. I mean, it feels like you're standing on a sponge.
Then something called an auger, located at the bottom of the bin, starts emptying the grain.
Okay, now I'm getting down in there. Yeah, I could. You know, the thing you notice is that you can't stop this. I can't stop from sinking.
Like water being drained from a bathtub, I'm being pulled straight down. The crew stops just before the soybeans get any higher. If this were real, I'd keep being pulled down, maybe over my head. Suffocation can happen within minutes.
From the top, you've got a long ways to go down.
Fortunately for me, there's a team ready to help.
All right, you need a platform.
Mind your pressing too.
Using specially designed equipment, they form a wall around my body. It seems to take forever, and the pressure on the legs and feet is painfully numbing.
We'll take the most confident person, put them inside that grain bin, and they think it's nothing, and then when that grain starts pulling them down as we start to move the grain, and they get up to about their waist, and they can wiggle their toes, but they can't move their legs. They look up at us like we went out of here.
Eventually, the grain is pulled out of the small space, and the exhausting exercise is finally over.
All right, he's up.
You just feel helpless in there. You just feel helpless.
It's a really uncomfortable feeling because at that point in time, you can't get out. You just have no control.
The goal of this training is to give rescue crews some hands-on experience. But for Mike and Ben and their KU team, it's something much more important.
It's every time we do a class, there's the potential that I have made that class or at least 20 to 30 more people just a little bit more aware of the dangers.